Welcome to the processing section of NanoLab orientation. In this section, we will discuss how to plan your processing work in the NanoLab, how to research the tools and processes you need, and how to get trained and qualified to use NanoLab equipment. Getting started as a lab member takes time. Here we will show the typical life cycle of researchers in the lab. During your outreach period, you will work with your group, as well as NanoLab process engineers to research and produce a cohesive processing plan. We strongly recommend reaching out and discussing your plan with relevant staff engineers before starting work in the lab. During your skill building period, you will train and qualify on relevant processing equipment. After your skill building phase, you move to R&D, the actual work of executing your process. You will eventually reach a point where you know your specific process better than anyone else in the lab. Members will seek you out as a mentor for that process. Mentors link up with new members in the outreach and skill building stages, guiding the new members around known pitfalls and hurdles. NanoLab staff engineers work to help you achieve your processing goals. Process and equipment engineers are assigned to each tool in the lab. Process engineers are knowledgeable about the capabilities of their tools and can improve special processes. You can look up tool engineers by viewing the equipment details for any tool in Mercury. The NanoLab website contains useful information that will help you with your planning. The NanoLab equipment manual, process manual, and process specifications contain extensive documentation of our equipment and processing knowledge. The equipment manual tab contains equipment manuals for all the tools available in the NanoLab. Section 1 is reserved for the chemical hygiene plan and other lab-wide procedures and documents. The rest of the manual is broken up into sections according to processing type. Toolset overviews can be found at the top of specific toolset sections. Every tool has a detailed instruction manual that lists material restrictions, training procedures, safety concerns, processing notes, and step-by-step tool operation. Equipment manuals are constantly being updated and revised by process staff. If you think there is some information in the manual that needs an update, please report a problem in Mercury. The Process Manual tab contains processing instructions for specific tools or a combination of tools. Whenever process staff develop a new process that can be useful for lab members, those instructions will be posted here. Process specifications collect data from staff designs, standard process experiments, or measurements for a given tool. Process specifications are monitored regularly. They include a detailed description of the settings and conditions of the test process or measurement. These reports can give you an indication of what the expected operating conditions and outcomes are for a typical process on the tool being tested, and if the outcomes vary or drift over time. Now that you are familiar with how to plan your work in the NanoLab, let's focus on how to get that work done. To enter the lab, you must finish this orientation course and take a safety tour with staff, read the Chemical Hygiene Plan, CHP, and pass the CHP facility test in Mercury, and pass the EHS 101 online course from UC Berkeley and upload your training certificate to Mercury so that we have a record of that course. Once you are cleared to enter the lab, you will still need to be trained and qualified on every piece of equipment you plan to use. NanoLab equipment is divided into 5 types. Classes are online videos that contain background information for a tool set. To fulfill the class's prerequisite, take the corresponding online test in Mercury. Member qualified tools are some of our simplest tools. Any qualified member can train and qualify you. Basic tools require a super user to qualify you. Super users are experienced members and process staff. To qualify on exam tools, you first need to pass an online exam before a super user can qualify you. Specialty tools have other requirements that are detailed in the equipment manual for those tools. The steps to qualify on a tool are: read the manual, complete any prerequisites, get trained, pass the exam if there is one, get qualified with a super user or staff. You can use Qualification Progress in the Qualification section of Mercury to guide you through the different steps. To create a training request, I click the link and type in the name of the tool. Let's request training on Headway 1. I get a message saying that Headway 1 has some prerequisites, so I'm going to request training on MSync 3 instead. I now see the instructions for getting on the tool. I have access to the equipment manual, which I need to read before getting hands-on training on a tool. I can also see who the equipment and process engineers are on this tool. Once I read the equipment manual, I need to find a trainer who will demonstrate tool operation in the lab. I can use notifications to get emails when the tool gets enabled or reserved, and I can see if there are other members of my group who are already qualified on this tool and can train me. Back at the dashboard, I can see my training request for MSync 3 is actually a training request for MSync 1, MSync 2, and MSync 3. Tools can be in training groups. I will train and qualify on these tools together. I now need to meet with a lab member in the lab to see the tool in operation. Once I've had hands-on training, I can return to Mercury and click the link to complete my training. I will enter my trainer's name and the date that I got trained. If I forgot my training date, I can click this link and it will automatically populate with today's date. I will save and continue. I can now take the equipment exam by clicking the Take Test button. I can review my test results in the test panel as well. If I did not pass, I can review my answers by clicking on the info bubble. I can see whether or not I got my answer correct or incorrect. After reviewing my answers, I can take the test again. Once I successfully pass the exam, I can request qualification. I can contact super users directly, individually, or I can contact all super users. Let's go with the default option of emailing super users individually. The super user list will be randomly sorted, and the order will be different each time you come to this tab. Select the super user who you want to contact and write your email message on the right-hand side. After you meet with your super user, the super user can directly enter your qualification into Mercury from the Qualify Member tab. To reserve equipment, go to the Reservations section of Mercury and type the name of the tool you want to reserve in the box. You may see multiple tools at the same time in the calendar view. Some tools have limits on the number of reservations you can make. These can be seen in the Reservation Rules tab. The Subscriptions tab will allow you to get emailed about canceled reservations and add NanoLab reservations to your personal calendar. You can check on any equipment status remotely from the Problem Status Board tab. Doing this regularly can save you a trip to the lab. Check the 4 possible problem states and always read the header messages for existing problems when you enable a tool. If you notice a problem with a piece of equipment, location, or utility, you can report a problem in Mercury, even if you're not qualified on the tool. Staff relies on your problem reports to address equipment problems. The more detailed your report, the better we are able to address the issue. So what happens when you report a problem? First, staff investigates the problem and tries to diagnose a cause. It is common for us to reach out to you and gather more information. We will attempt to resolve the root cause of the problem and then test the equipment operation. Once we are satisfied, we'll fix the problem report and release the equipment to you, the members. You can then run your process and see if the issue has been resolved. Sometimes the fix doesn't work or it doesn't work with your process. A new problem report is entered and the cycle starts again. Don't be discouraged if you report a problem more than once. We will keep working with you until it's fixed. In addition to the tools you'll use in the NanoLab, you'll also need lab supplies. NanoLab maintains an extensive inventory of chemicals for use in the lab. You can view a list of standard chemicals in the inventory section of Mercury. Chemicals are generally stocked in roll-out bins below the sinks where they are used. Backup bottles can be found in the chemical cabinets. Remember to always use partial bottles first. If you want to use a chemical that isn't stocked by NanoLab, you can make a special chemical request. The NanoLab CHP defines a procedure for special chemical approval. Other lab materials, such as beakers, tweezers, cleanroom notebooks, wafers, and more, can be purchased from the NanoLab stockroom. While we are happy to provide materials for use in the NanoLab, please do not use our stockroom to supply your home laboratory. NanoLab supplies and chemicals are only for use in the NanoLab. This is the end of the processing portion of orientation. Always remember, the number one rule for working in the NanoLab is never work alone.